Are you trying to learn Japanese without doing so at the pace of a turtle with Alzheimer's, spending obscene amounts of money on a college class, or playing this ridiculous video while you sleep?
I'm sorry. ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。
Admittedly, I've done all three, and they haven't had much of an impact on my ability to learn or retain the Japanese language. In attempts to find new methods, I turned to YouTube and came across 7 ways to learn a new language effectively, a video by Sprouts. This is where I got the idea to test these different methods on my own. In this 6-part video series, I'll be showing you how to learn Japanese or any other language in 6 different ways. I decided to do this to discover which method or methods work best for my dumb brain. Some of you may be wondering why I'm doing 6 methods as opposed to the 7 methods in Sprout's video. And that's because the first 2 include being exposed to the place in which the language originates. And I'm currently about 6,375.87 miles away from Japan. So combining the 2 was the best option. The drown yourself to swimming method is exactly what it sounds like. The idea is that by submerging yourself in the country in which the language originates, the music, shows, conversations, and daily life, you'll start to pick up and learn the language on your own. Think of it like the Japanese language as a swimming pool, and learning it is how you swim. And then I guess the method itself is your dad throwing you into the deep end with no floaties. The method of immersion is almost the same. The idea is to learn a new language by exposure and context. This would include going to an Italian restaurant and reading the menu or ordering in Italian. These methods are a little difficult for me to test here in America, especially in Texas, where we live off of barbecue and love to mumble Western English like the cowboys we are. But I've found my own way of testing these methods while going about my everyday life, eating cows and riding horses. And that is to drown myself in anime instead of Japan. I've come up with a couple of rules that I think will properly test the methods while still giving me time for college and daily life. The first rule is to listen to nothing but Japanese music. This won't be too hard for me. I listen to Japanese music often, and I've created a playlist with almost 200 songs over the past few months. The second rule is to only watch anime or Japanese shows, without the subtitles if possible. I watch anime whenever I can, but I rarely have time. I've been keeping up with My Hero Academia and saw the Heroes Rising movie last week with Bethany, but that's about all I've had time for, so I'm excited I get to do this every night. Along with these rules, I've challenged myself to watch an anime with a complicated plot with no subtitles, and then try to decipher the plot after I finish watching it. I asked you guys on Instagram which anime I should watch, and you voted for Steins. So we'll see how that goes. I personally don't think this method will be very effective. I may catch on to some new words or phrases, but with my level of Japanese, which I consider to be beginner, it's still hard to understand Japanese conversation or music because it's too fast. Plus, I don't know too many vocabulary words or grammar points, but I'm still excited to test this method. So I listen to Japanese music at least twice every day. It takes me about 35 minutes to get to school, and I'd listen to it there and back. I also have to listen to music every time I'm in my car, so I'd play it going anywhere. I'd also listen in the bath, when cleaning up my room, and when doing homework instead of the lo-fi hip-hop radio beats to relax / study to. I watched a little bit of everything too. I rewatched Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, The Promised Neverland, more of My Hero Academia, Your Name, and Steins Gate. Though the only ones I could completely take the subtitles off of were Your Name and Steins Gate because I have them on DVD. And this is how the week went. After listening to Japanese music only and watching Japanese only shows for an entire week, I learned absolutely nothing. As far as Japanese music goes, I really enjoy the sound of it, and I found some really good artists and new bands to listen to, but I didn't learn anything new constantly listening to it. I spent a lot more time listening to music than I think watching shows, and it still didn't change anything for me. The only thing I can say is positive is that words I already did know stood out a lot. I could recognize certain vocabulary words that I already knew in songs, but I did not obtain anything new because most of the time I don't know what they're saying. Watching Japanese shows and anime was pretty much the same. I didn't learn anything new necessarily, but things I already did know stood out to me a lot, and conversations made sense sometimes if they were really simple. It was nice to hear the pacing of regular conversation and how they'd say things as far as phrases I already know go, but anything else I had no idea what they were saying. And that brings us to Steins Gate. I am very certain that I have no idea what happened in this anime, and I took notes, but I still don't think it makes sense. What I realized while watching this was how frustrated I was that I couldn't understand what they were saying. Steins Gate has a lot of moments where it's just dialogue and they're just talking in a room, nothing's really going on, there's no visuals other than conversation. So it was really frustrating to not understand what they were talking about, because if I did, I'd probably know more of what this anime was about. Because of this, I only watched up until about episode 8. As far as Steins Gate goes, I am screwed. So, Ocarine is a scientist, and I don't know what he's doing when the show starts. This thing crashes into the building, and it causes people to forget things or like a time warp, and he really wants to figure out why it happened, I think. And then the whole thing where he clicks his phone and like goes through time, and the girl dies, but she's alive and no one talks about it. In one instance she's dead, but then in another universe she's not. I don't know why they decided to put the bananas in the microwave, or where the microwave came from, or why you connect your phone to it, but I think it has something to do with like destroying cells and teleporting. So I think he knows that she died and she's like back to life, or that she died in another universe, because he says zombie a few times, unless I'm dumb. But whatever the microwave does has to do with his phone, because it's always him sending emails. And then, oh yeah, John Titor, I don't know who that is. I think maybe he knows what the microwave does and what's going on, and maybe he's the one who caused the experiment for the human is dead thing, because he keeps talking about John Titor. I don't know, I feel like he's the one that he's emailing. I don't know what's up with the cat girls or the girl with the sword, but everyone in this story seems to know about IBN. And then there's cases of humans being turned into like green stuff and like appearing in walls, and like I think that has something to do with John Titor. And then he has a dream of that black hole like falling into it, and I don't know what that's for. And oh look, I stopped watching. So I'm gonna look up the actual plot for my own sanity. I'll definitely watch this with the subtitles though, so I can actually understand it. Okay. He questions whether or not time travel is worth discovering after all. So...
here's a quick summary of Steins Gate, the anime. Okabe and his childhood friend Mayuri go to Nakabachi's lecture. During the lecture, Okabe makes...
childhood friend, okay.
CERN has been using to encrypt their information, covering their progress on the topic of time travel. And that CERN has been conducting human experiments to perfect time travel. However, they have not done so successfully. The lab members decide to call the messages they send back a message.
So, basically I didn't know anything about this anime except for all the things you can see because I don't understand Japanese. I would suggest this method for people who are further along in learning Japanese. If you know more vocabulary and sentence structure, grammar, I think it'd be really good for you to practice listening to the pacing of conversation and just how people speak it. If you are trying to learn Japanese and you are a beginner like myself, do not do this method. You're going to be wasting your time and it's not going to do anything for you. But if you learn more Japanese and then want to come back to this method later, I think it would be a good idea. I hope I can return to this method to see how things change and how it can benefit me in the future. But for now, I'm going to stick to watching anime just for the fun of it. That is all for now, guys, but I will catch you next time where we look at mnemonics and if it can help the dumpster that is my knowledge of the Japanese language. Bye!